give a chance for people to join up. Here with Supervisor District 2 candidate Susanne Baremore.
Hello, everyone.
At Marvwell. And what's awesome is she actually brought tacos, which is very appropriate for this hallowed ground.
So Taco Tuesday.
It is, yeah, it's Taco Tuesday. So I want to start off by saying that I'm obviously, I'm not a journalist or we are friends, but I want to be very transparent and let people know that I'm not planning on softballing you questions, because I am a constituent, a possible future constituent of your district, and I'm going to ask you the questions that I would ask anybody running to be my supervisor,
Deal.
And yeah, I am a little biased, obviously, because I think you should vote for Susanne, but I want to give her the opportunity to tell everyone else, including me, why she should be the supervisor of District 2. So the first thing I want to ask and make a hard clarification here, because some people seem to continuously mispronounce it. How do you say your name?
Susanne Baremore.
Baremore. You hear that? Baremore. All right. Okay, let's get to the questions. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I wrote them down so that I didn't have to remember them.
Oh, it's a list.
It's a little list. Okay, so question 1. What made you choose to run for the position of District 2 Supervisor?
Oh, well, honestly, we would have to go back to a time when I was in about the 6th or 7th grade. One of my classmates, Stacy Peters, she and her sister Jill, their dad ran for county supervisor for District 5. And as working as part of that first campaign, that just made me want to be involved in local government. So what actually made me get up out of my seat at a Board of Supervisors meeting and go downstairs to go take out the paperwork was just one more circus show in our local governance. I think it's so important that we have stable, responsible policy governing our communities in Shasta County. And we've just watched one meeting after the next for the last couple of years where people are
circus.
It's a complete clown show.
Yep. No, I agree with that. Okay, what skills and talents do you have that you believe make you a qualified candidate?
I'm kind of a Rain Man, if you will, of county governments.
We actually, our nickname for you on the Echoplex Media Show is Auntie Civics.
Auntie Civics. I am Auntie Civics. I have worked in county government. I've worked in the probation department. I've worked in personnel and risk management. I've worked in the public health department. I worked in the county counsel's office. And a lot of those roles gave me a very unique opportunity to understand all the departments, how they're funded, what laws govern them, all of that. I am a hugely compassionate person.
So definitely very necessary for that position.
Yeah, I believe that we are a highly traumatized county because we have a lot of poor people here. We have a lot of untended mental health issues in our community, and we all need to pull together. We need to be our brothers and sisters keepers, if you will, and start loving and caring for one another in a way that
like how Marv did.
Yes, exactly like Marv. I'm so tickled that we're sitting here at Marvwell today.
Yeah, this is, I could think of no better place. So.
Right. A funny aside, this park has always been like a part of my life story, up to and including down at the other gazebo down there. My daughter got married there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 10 years ago this year.
And my cousin actually got married there, too.
And what was really funny is that, so my daughter and her husband had, they had a long-ish engagement. They were engaged for like a year and a half because they wanted to get married on a Saturday so lots of people could come. And they chose a spot before the gazebo was even built.
Yeah.
And so in that year and a half time, they built the gazebo. So by the time they had their wedding, it was like totally like constructed, and it was a great little family wedding.
So they were probably maybe the first people that actually got married there. Potentially.
Probably pretty close.
Oh, that's cool. I'm sure there's been hundreds of weddings there.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of weddings happen there now at this point.
And what's really sweet too is my daughter and her husband. Part of why they had such a long engagement is so they could get married on a Saturday and have that Saturday be the anniversary of their first date. So their wedding anniversary is the same as their first date anniversary. That's really sweet.
That's cool. I proposed to my fiance on Valentine's Day, so every Valentine's Day gets to be extra special.
That's awesome.
Okay, so here is one that I think is definitely specific to you being a woman running for this position. How will you as a woman be able to combat the blatant sexism that Mary Rickert has had to endure?
Simply by acting like a professional human being. You've seen enough of me at board meetings and elsewhere in the community that
you don't take crap.
No. I don't take a lot of people's garbage, and I don't take it personally.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, if I am elected as supervisor, I am going to do the job and do the job to the best of my ability.
Right.
And what people think of me is none of my business.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm campaigning and I want people to vote for me and all of that. But, I've always felt like since I was a little girl that, what people think of me, whether I'm fat or old or, whatever. It's not my concern. My concern in this role is going to be my constituents and making sure that Shasta County is the best place that we can make it be.
Good. Excellent. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Let's see. All right. What do you believe are the top 3 things that we as a community need to fix in Shasta County?
This is kind of a soft answer, the first one. We need stable governance. We need a board of supervisors that's willing to work as a governance team.
Right.
All of the back and forth and the 3-2 votes and just how rude the board has been to one another.
Yeah.
They're
always like fighting each other, and if they're up there fighting each other, what do you think we're all going to do in the crowd? We're going to fight each other too.
Exactly. Our current board of supervisors has modeled the bad behavior that they are now complaining about in those chambers and in our community. And we can do better. We can have a better brand of leadership. I'm the person that's going to be handing out hugs and my business cards and, just like I do at the Elections Commission. I always try to make sure that people who want to talk, people who want to be heard, are heard. Right. I will listen. So there's that. But in terms of actual issues, I don't think it's.
3 is hard because there's a lot more than 3.
Because there's like 29.
Yeah.
But like right at the top of the list, I think is dealing with the crime issue and the revolving door that is the jail. And I think do we need to build a new jail? Yes, because literally when they built the one that we have now back in 1984, it was obsolete by the time it opened the doors. We were already at capacity because of where we were with mental health issues.
Right.
Because
mental health would be like something baked into the crime issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of interrelated. I mean, what I think are the big 3 things are dealing with the crime issue, which is we're going to have to do locally. Obviously, we need a new jail, something that we'll do more wraparound kind of services. But we also need to be spending some time in Sacramento. We need to figure out how to turn over AB 109 and some of these laws that are impacting us locally.
Right. AB 109 has been an issue for a long time for us.
Yeah, we need to have a criminal justice system that works, because what we have right now doesn't.
Right.
So the jail's a big piece of that. Dealing with the mental health issue. One of the things that I feel like is missing from our mental health care system is we no longer have a workable institutional model. We used to have places that we could put people to protect them from themselves and others, and we no longer have that, because the 80s the president did away with that mental health system, but for good reason. It wasn't a great institutional model. We need best practices for how to humanely deal with people who need to be institutionalized.
Right.
But
it's not just about throwing everyone under the jail, like some people talk that way, and it's no, that this person needs help. It's a human being, and they are probably committing these crimes because of other things in their life that they can't control.
Right.
Mental health issues. Mental health issues lead to drug addiction. Tragedy in life leads to mental health issues, which can lead to drug addiction, which leads to crime.
Exactly. And what part of why our jail filled up so fast when it was built back in the 80s is because
sorry, it got dark for a moment there.
It was dark for a minute. So part of why our jail filled up so fast back in the 80s is because that's just about the time that our mental health system kind of disappeared off the landscape. And so the jail was the next reasonable step. That's where a lot of the mental health people were going, who needed help. It's not the best fix, but that's the way it is. And now the jail's too full because now we have actual prisoners in our local jails. So that's definitely a piece that we need to figure out, again, because we have such high ACEs scores here. We have so much trauma. Everybody could use a little boost, Yeah,
definitely.
And so then I think the third thing probably would be, just working on making Shasta County a business-friendly place.
Right.
When I was growing up, I had surrogate grandparents up in Shingletown who, the husband, Marion Allen, had actually worked on the Hoover Boulder Dam.
Okay.
And then worked on Shasta Dam, and then stayed here in this area to be a contractor, as a lot of those dam workers did. And one of the things I've been saying for decades now is that we need something that project-wise is kind of the size of Shasta Dam.
Yeah.
To bring tradespeople back in, for good, solid living wage jobs.
Make it a profitable economy. And I think even that can also be tied into the brain drain, that is causing a lot of these very qualified, intelligent people in county positions to up and quit because of the work environment they're currently forced to be in.
100%.
And if that could stop, that would be great, because losing all the smart people is only going to make things worse.
And this is another thing I've been saying since I was a young adult, is that our greatest export is our kids. Our kids leave because there's not a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah.
We used to talk when I worked in the county, doing recruiting, that we could talk people into coming to work for Shasta County because we could get them to trade a paycheck for paradise. Because this place is so beautiful. We've got the lakes.
It's a gorgeous place.
The river.
Look at the river.
And now that's not cutting it, because the work environment in county government is so toxic.
Yeah, well, and we've become famous for being a ridiculous place, and people see the news, the papers, the Reddit posts, everything on the internet, and they're always
Oh my
like,
gosh.
oh my God, what is Shasta County doing? You know?
It is really embarrassing. I work for the California School Boards Association. That's my day job. And there are 16 of me around the state. You know, they all work in different regions. I have the 14 northeasternmost counties here. And the other folks on my team are just constantly, it's embarrassing, like to have to tell people that I'm from Shasta County, because they're like, what is going on up there?
Yeah.
and trying to, you know, it's become somewhat normalized for us, unfortunately, that this is who we are now.
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate. You know, we are a great place. We have wonderful people in our community. We could be innovating. We could be doing all kinds of really good work for the community, but instead, it's like this cosplay.
Yeah.
It's the circus.
The cosplay triots are in charge. And you know what they want, and it's not anybody but them to make sure they have a solid bottom line. That's my opinion.
The self-dealing is, it's ridiculous.
Okay, let's see. I've got 3 more questions.
Okay.
This next one is very similar to the last one, but specifically about District 2. So what do you believe are the top 3 things in District 2 that need to be fixed?
At the sake of sounding like Kevin Cry, potholes. Let's fix the roads.
Yes, potholes.
But seriously, one of the things that is a priority for me for District 2 is continuing to fireproof our whole county. The community of Igo Ono, Old Shasta, French Gulch, they've all burned.
Yeah.
And those communities have not been made entirely whole.
Right.
Like, for example, out in Igo, the Grange Hall, they didn't get fully what they needed to rebuild out of their insurance settlement. And so one of the things that I want us to be able to do is kind of build a template, build a plan, so that as soon as the fire bells start ringing, that we are already starting to work with FEMA and Office of Emergency Services.
Yeah.
And
we don't ever want to see something like Paradise ever happen again. That was absolutely
or
tragic.
even the car fire, the Zog fire, any
People
of it.
trapped in their car, and older folks that just can't get out of a road, and just man, that was, you know, being able to prevent something like that would just be monumental, you know.
So so specific to District 2, I want us to be as fire safe as we possibly can, because it's not a matter of if. You know, Igo Ono is probably going to burn again at some point, as you know, lots of other communities in the county. So that's a pretty big issue for me. Back in the 90s, I did a lot of community forestry work. So one of the things that I really want to be able to promote is a significant portion of Shasta County's land base is owned by the federal government. We get some small payment in lieu of taxes, you know, instead of property taxes for that base for our taxes.
Gotcha.
But they're not really paying their fair share, and the Forest Service is doing a horrible job of managing the federal lands. They are the biggest reason why we have such horrible forest fires around here, is because they have mismanaged the land. They're not controlling the fire hazards the way they should be, and so I feel like they need to be responsible. So many of these fires either start on federal lands, or they are accelerated through federal lands. Once they hit those boundaries, then
there's just too much fuel.
Yeah. And so I believe that the Forest Service needs to be a responsible partner in helping us manage our fire problem. Right. So there's that. I also want to see, like, out in Igo, there's they're building a list in the community of things they think they need to do a better job of fighting the fires. You know, they need roads that can handle big trucks turning around,
Yeah.
or fire trucks, things like that. So I think that's really important to, that's district specific. I also think that one of the things, and this is a county-wide issue, but the Sacramento River does run through District 2,
Yeah.
is we need to do a better job of commodifying our water
Yeah.
for the rest of the state.
Right. Have an actual water users committee.
Yeah. Yes.
Not one
not one that is a self-dealing pack.
Yeah,
Correct.
just a self-dealing pack
Yes.
with an ambiguous name to give money to certain people.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, and because one of the things that I do in my role with CSBA is that I am constantly promoting rural schools and rural communities. And one of the things that I like to tell folks in the more urban areas is that it is just as important that the 4 kids that live in Forks of Salmon in Siskiyou County that used to go to that school has now closed down and kids are going to a different place, but it is just as important for the entire state of California that rural kids get educated
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
as it is that the kids in LA Unified School District get
Yeah.
educated. And part of why
More
that
education would cause less of the stupidity that we keep seeing.
right? Also, a piece of this is because the entire state relies upon rural spaces in Northern California to manage the headwaters, to grow our food, to keep our river courses clean and pristine.
Right.
We can't keep these little towns alive if we don't have schools.
Right.
So, nobody's going to want to move their family out to, BFE somewhere
Right.
when they can't really raise their family there.
I would think it would be an amazing thing if at any point if somehow Reading could put a university in, like not like a real one, not one with its own like religious stuff going on, but like
Right.
like a UC Reading,
That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would just bring so much education and the younger generation and economy and just so many things. But
Yeah.
a lot of people around here don't like seeing growth. They want Reading to remain this small rural town. But the truth is, it's already past that. If you go downtown now and you see the new Shasta College campus, buildings are getting taller finally in Reading.
Yeah.
And that's just how a city grows. One day it's probably going to be similar to a place like San Francisco or Sacramento, but with just more nature around.
I think there's a balance to be struck there. So many of us live here because we love the rural spaces.
Right.
My parents moved us from LA to Shingletown
Right.
back in '77 when I was 8 years old. And in fact, it was really sweet because the year before we had come up here and vacationed, and the place I was most enamored with was Whiskeytown Lake.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the back seat of our little Volkswagen Bug, and I was like trying to get up on my knees without my mom seeing because I wasn't allowed to sit on, my knees.
Yeah.
And so, but I was trying to get up so I could see better out the window because there were Christmas trees all the way down to the water. And so for the next year, anybody who would listen, when we went back home to LA, anybody who would listen, I was talking about the lake. And so, that means a lot to me. I think there's a real balance that can be had where we have responsible growth that helps build up our community in
Right.
a lot of very very important ways, and still be the kind of people who don't like paying for parking, water, or Christmas trees.
Yeah. Oh man, that makes me so mad. The old parking meter thing, like.
Oh my gosh.
It's just so frustrating, and I think a big issue, especially downtown, is you got people that work downtown that sometimes really don't have a place to park without paying for it, and imagine having to go to work and in a small little town like this, and like you're paying money the whole time while you're at work just to, like, it just felt like a very unnecessary way to try to. It's a tax. It was just a dumb tax that they just put on the citizens, which it's not a big enough place to require that, with enough traffic to require that, you know.
Well, and here's what, this obviously this is anecdotal, but I used to own a business right downtown above Kobe in the Gateway building down there, and the one and only complaint I had in my business was having to pay 40 cents for people to park.
People don't like that around here.
No, and that's where I came up with the thing is, we are rural people. We don't want to pay for our water. We don't want to pay for our parking. We don't want to pay for our Christmas trees.
Maybe one of the things you could try to do is remove the parking meters. People might appreciate that a lot.
Oh, that is the city of Reading's jurisdiction. So
annoying. So annoying. Okay, let's see. Was that 3 things? Did you get to 3 things? I think you did.
I think so.
I think you did. Okay, here's one. How do you feel about the Governor Gavin Newsom appointing a replacement for Kevin Cry if he is recalled?
Near as I can tell, I don't recall that Gavin Newsom has ever been to Shasta County. Mm-hmm. I don't even think other than our clown show, I don't think he really knows where Shasta County is on the map. The likelihood that the governor is going to appoint somebody for that vacancy is slim and none.
Right.
So, I'm not a big fan of the charter county idea because I think there's a real likelihood that it will be abused.
It'll be abused.
And
I
misappropriated.
fully believe it'll be abused. I think that they're just saying that it's going to be to the people, but I know the way that it's set up to where the majority of the board can make the charter what it is.
Yeah.
And that's we know how they think because we've been watching what they've been doing for so long, and there is just nothing that I believe at this point that those 3 supervisors do in good faith.
100%.
So
I'm right there with you.
If I could get behind a charter county, if it wasn't just going to be something abused by Patrick, Chris, and Kevin. So
100%.
So good. So that's a good answer. And last one, this one's easy. Where can people find out more about you?
You can go to SuzanneForSupervisor.org. That is my website. You can also go to Susanne for Supervisor on Facebook.
Cool.
Also, be watching for me to come to your neighborhood. I've been to about 3,000 houses in the last month or so. So, and it's been really encouraging for me because as somebody who, is in local politics as much as like you and I are, it's really easy to get, be disconsolate, be depressed by what it seems like is happening around because we're hearing from a lot of squeaky wheels. Mm-hmm. But I have had such a great opportunity. I have met so many people in District 2 who just want things normal again. They just want they want
politics to be a little more boring.
They want they want us to get back to business. That's one of my slogans for my campaign is we're going to get back to business.
That's perfect.
And a piece of that is how great would it be to be able to take Board of Supervisors meetings for granted again. Mm-hmm. Be able to know that, they've got it handled, they're fine.
Right.
They'll do the work.
Right. Like you're not just waiting to see some news article about something completely ridiculous they did, like allowing people to bring guns into the meetings. It's all just...
Oh my gosh.
It's all just radicalized, extreme garbage, and we just got to get away from that, If these people, like if Patrick Jones, if he could just go sell guns, man. Like stop trying to push your ideologies and what you think the Constitution is out onto everybody.
Also, let's be super clear for the audience at home. Gun owners, both of us, we are gun owners.
Definitely love and respect and support the Second Amendment.
2A.
Yep, 2A, baby. All right, well, thank you so much, Suzanne. That was a great interview, and I'm going to give you a hug because we're friends.
Indeed.
So, thank you guys for watching. I'll make sure to post this after I turn the audio up a little bit, probably. So,